From the Bermuda Triangle to a gremlin invasion, today we're going to explore the weirdest dark rides around the world. This video was possible thanks to your suggestions, so be sure to follow us on Instagram and DM us your suggestions. Maybe your suggestion could be on our next video. Fastpass. American Adventure, Beijing Shijingshan Amusement Park. The American Adventure takes us all the way to the Shijingshan Amusement Park in Beijing, China. Pretty weird for an amusement park in China to have a ride named American Adventure, right? Well, weird seems to be the vibe that the theme park was going for. Opened in 1986, this park is a complete knockoff of both Disneyland and Disney World, but not a very good one. If the park could have a motto, it would be this: it is so bad that it's good. In fact, their previous motto used to be, Disney is too far, please come to Beijing Shijingshan Amusement Park. But they had to change it at the threat of a lawsuit from Disney. Having developed a name for being the worst amusement park in the world, it looks like a weird, sad version of Disney World. But the weirdest ride of them all is the American Adventure. Not only is the ride weird, it is downright bizarre. The ride is housed inside a cyan European castle, complete with towers and turrets. Not something that you would expect from an American Adventure ride. As soon as you go inside, you board a rickety cart and are given a gun to take along for the ride. The whole ride seems to follow the theme of the Wild West. At the first turn of the ride, there's a strange drawing of an elephant staring at you. It looks like a drawing that was commissioned by a kid. After passing the elephant, you come across more animals, such as a kangaroo standing beside a fallen zebra, with rhinos and giraffes making up the background. The animals don't seem to have been chosen with America in mind. As the ride progresses, there are statues of men scattered all around, and they seem to be cowboys drinking at saloons and having fun. While most of them are stationary, some keep moving back and forth. There was even one cowboy whose head rotated 360 degrees. You're supposed to try your luck shooting at them with the gun that was provided to you, but of course, none of the guns work. Throughout the ride, there are neon lights flashing and scary sound effects. TVs mounted on the walls of the cave seem to be playing scenes from various American cowboy movies. We have no idea why this strange American ride was housed inside a European castle, or why it was even made in the first place. We can only assume that some clueless person decided to put random things together and called it an American Adventure to make Americans feel more welcome. Or maybe it was supposed to give a taste of what America is like to people of Beijing who cannot afford to leave the country. Bermuda Triangle, Alien Encounter, Area 51, Movie Park, Germany. The Bermuda Triangle and Area 51, two places that invite a lot of intrigue and speculation. Nobody knows if these places are real or just the stuff of legends, but one thing is for certain, they certainly exist in the Hollywood street set themed area in Movie Park, Germany. Opened under the name of Bermuda Triangle Alien Encounter, this attraction combines the legendary stories of both in a weird and wonderful way. It was built in 1996 by Swiss attraction builder Intamin. The attraction consists of a fake volcano that is 10 meters high. This is a dark water ride, and the story behind it is that ships and boats sail into the fake volcano and disappear mysteriously. What happens inside the volcano? As a passenger, you get to figure it out. The volcano is supposedly located in the Bermuda Triangle. 13 ships sail into the volcano at the beginning of the ride. Inside the volcano, it is pitch black, other than a few glowing lights in the ceiling here and there. As you go further inside, you find out that there are aliens waiting to kidnap humans. This was inspired by the legend of Area 51, a secret military base in Nevada that was rumored to conduct experiments with aliens. The capacity for the attraction is 800 people per hour. That is a lot of people for the aliens to abduct. The alien animatronics have sensors that activate the aliens' movements and voices when a boat passes near them. Suddenly, you enter a laboratory where kidnapped people have been stored in freezers along the walls. There are also strange computer-like things here and there with aliens standing in front of them. It is clear that there are weird things happening inside the volcano. The aliens are likely conducting experiments on all the humans they have abducted so far, but luckily, you escape unscathed. Finally, you exit through a tunnel glowing with lights. There is a bright white light at the end of the tunnel. The ride ends with water splashing all over your boat. There is also another descent inside the volcano which causes a big water splash. You may have escaped the aliens, but you cannot escape the water. The alien animatronics look pretty scary. They have huge, bulbous eyes, and their heads are shaped like two human brains attached together. All in all, it is a pretty scary ride and the most popular one at the theme park. In 2018, the directors of the park decided that it was time to revamp the ride. The name was changed to Area 51, Top Secret, and the volcano was painted brown to make it look like a desert mountain. The new story is that the government is taking citizens on a tour of Area 51. This attraction takes visitors back in time to the 1950s, and the color themes were set to match this time period. They enter the Groom Lake in the Nevada desert, which is where the mysterious U.S. military base is located. Because of the rumors circulating about alien life forms in this area, the U.S. government, along with the Department of Defense, have organized the first open day to Area 51. Visitors can now enter the mountain and find answers for themselves. The entire set was redesigned to fit this new story better. New music scores were added to heighten the tension and anticipation of the riders. Even a new pre-show was added. The best part of this renovation was the props that were added to the attraction. Genuine military items from the U.S. Air Force, such as exact replicas of the Area 51 warning signs, military aircrafts, surveillance towers, military jeeps, components from U.S. jets, and even original military beds from the 1950s. There was even an original 300-square-meter U.S. Army parachute. The directors certainly went the extra mile to make sure the visitors got an authentic experience. If you are ever in Germany, this ride is not to be missed. It is almost like exploring the real Area 51. Gremlins Invasion Adventure. In not one, but two Warner Bros. Movie World amusement parks, there was a mysterious ride called the Gremlin Invasion. Also known as the Great Gremlin Adventure, nobody even knew this ride existed until a few years ago, despite it having been in operation for a decade. To this day, the footage of the actual ride is very limited. Why does this ride have such an aura of mystery around it? In the early 90s, a Warner Bros. Movie World opened its doors in Australia. 5 years later, Warner Bros. Opened another theme park in Germany. Both of them had one thing in common: the mysterious dark ride called the Gremlin Invasion. The Australian Gremlin Invasion ride starts out like any other ride, with people queuing up outside the show building. Groups of people are then ushered into the building and to a theater-like setting where they are then shown deleted footage and bloopers from previous Warner Bros. Movies as well as TV shows. Sounds like a normal theater experience, right? Well, it is, for the most part. Except for the fact that the parkgoers never get to see the end of the show. Before the footage ends, the screening is cut short due to a sudden gremlin invasion. All the humans become their hostages, and they must escape if they do not want to be attacked by gremlins. The animatronic gremlins look pretty scary, and the creepy sound effects add on to the vibe. And it's not just 2 or 3 gremlins that we're talking about here. The ride featured a whopping 56 gremlins on the loose. Since it would have been virtually impossible for the humans to escape from the clutches of these gremlins on their own, the manufacturers introduced an animatronic version of Beetlejuice to help them. Beetlejuice bravely faces the gremlins and leads the humans to safety. In the German version, instead of Beetlejuice as the savior, the ride featured Alf, also known as Gordon Shumway, the protagonist of the popular TV show Alf from the 90s. As the gremlins begin wreaking havoc, Alf, who is helped by Gizmo, quickly tells everyone that there is an escape route through the WB film archives. There's a vehicle waiting for them. However, before the ride out of the theater can begin, Alf tries to hunt a cat, but gets attacked by a gremlin instead. So it is now up to the parkgoers to usher themselves to safety along with Alf. The ride takes them through the archives, where the gremlins can be seen causing as much chaos as possible. They go all out by destroying original prints of famous Warner Bros. Movies and even the legendary sets that the movies were shot at. And all the while, the parkgoers sit at the edge of their seats, just hoping that they won't get attacked by the huge, scary creatures. Just when everyone starts to think that this nightmare might be never-ending, Alf and Gizmo find a shocking way to eliminate the gremlins, and the ride comes to an end. Right at the exit, riders pass through 2 crashed police cars, similar to the ones used in the Police Academy stunt show. Another fun trivia about this ride is that Alf and Gizmo beat the gremlins in the same way as in Gremlins 2, the new batch. For the decade that this ride was operative, it was very popular. Unfortunately, the ride was taken down and replaced with the Scooby-Doo Spooky Coaster in Australia and Van Helsing's factory in Germany. Although the rides have been dismantled, it is said that elements of it still exist in the new rides. It is certainly a mystery as to why the rest of the world did not know of the existence of this ride. Knights in White Satin, The Trip, Hard Rock Park. The name Knights in White Satin evokes images of gliding through the midnight sky in a horse-drawn carriage. The sky is filled with stars and there is soft music playing in your ears. The song that this ride was inspired from, Knights in White Satin by the Moody Blues, might be soothing, but that is where the similarities end with the imagery that this name invokes. Aptly named The Trip, this ride took you on a psychedelic 3D trip complete with blacklight, visual effects, and special effects. Located in Hard Rock Park in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, which was later renamed as the Freestyle Music Park, this ride defied all the theme park conventions and was a favorite among people who love to experience the surreal. Manufactured by the Sally Corporation and John Benkowski of Hard Rock Park, this ride opened in 2008. A few years later, in 2011, it was relocated and found its new home in Broadway at the beach. Unfortunately, the ride was closed a few years later, bringing an end to this wonderful, trippy experience. The entryway to the ride was painted impressively. As soon as people entered, it was like flipping on a switch. The outside world disappeared and the mind-bending experience began. Just inside the entrance, there was a black and white optical illusion, a false spiral that pulled you in and mesmerized you. The dark room inside had several artifacts hanging on the walls, such as a giant glow-in-the-dark knight and a holographic skull. Riders were given 3D glasses. After putting them on, they had to pass through a blacklit hallway filled with 3D images that shimmered and moved, making the riders reach out and try to touch it. At the end of the hallway is a spinning vortex room, which the riders have to pass through to get to a loading area. The spinning room was no less disorienting than the hallway, giving riders a taste of what was to come. For those who did not think they could stomach it, there was an alternate entrance to the loading area, called the chicken entrance. Once you were seated in the vehicles, the trip began with Nights in White Satin flowing through the speakers. The Moody Blues created the song specifically for this ride to match its length of 4 minutes and 10 seconds. Ethereal white 3D specters greeted the passengers as the journey started. Slowly, the dark area morphed into bright colors and colorful shapes. There were 14 scenes in total, filled with psychedelic imagery, phantom shapes and figures, smoke rings swirling over your head, and even scents to give you an authentic, trippy experience. Although the scenes were abstract and did not have any sort of linear story, they were made in such a way so as to align perfectly well with the song. According to John Benkowski himself, the ride was supposed to be an artistic interpretation of the famous, thought-provoking song, which meant different things to different people. And the goal was to sync the imagery with the music and stimulate the passengers, letting their mind go free. There were huge disco balls floating in the air that burst into tiny water droplets as soon as you passed under them. The best part of the ride was the speed room. The car would take the riders inside a domed room where a movie depicting forward motion would be projected. Here, the car would move in sync with the film, making the riders feel as if they were moving into the film. This immersive ride was unconventional and artistic, giving the passengers a completely new experience. There is no doubt that this ride would have attracted people from all over the world. Unfortunately, the ride had been introduced in the middle of the economic crisis in 2008. Soon after, the theme park had gone bankrupt, and they had to shut the ride down. Saltkrakan, Astrid Lindgren's world. Have you ever watched a TV show or a movie about a family having epic adventures and wished they could take you along? Saltkrakan is a dark ride that does exactly that. You may have heard of Astrid Lindgren. She was one of the most popular writers of fiction and screenplays, and is particularly known for her children's book series. Her stories were so well loved that there is a theme park based on the world she created. It is known as Astrid Lindgren's World and is located in her native city, Vimmerby, Sweden. Here, visitors get to step into the world created by her books and meet all their favorite characters. This interactive theme park was opened in 1981 as a fairy tale village. It is open to the public only in the summers. Spanning 180,000 square meters, all the environments in this park are built based on Astrid's stories, giving people a chance to physically enter into the stories and interact with their favorite characters. There are also stage events that happen from morning to evening, which includes performances by the various characters. Saltkrakan is one such ride based on one of her worlds. The title translates to We on Salt Crow and was a Swedish television series that was written by Astrid. She later adapted it into a series of books as well. It tells the story of an eccentric family which consists of a widowed man, Melker Melkerson, and his 4 children. Every summer, the family goes on a trip to Saltkrakan, Sea Crow Island, an idyllic place where they can go and leave their worries behind. Here, the family members have many adventures. This TV show was so famous that reruns of it still run today. The Saltkrakan ride takes visitors into the world of the Melkersons, giving the characters a chance to come alive again. Created by the Sally Corporation, this ride has 20 scenes in total and 37 animatronics of the characters. Scents, smoke, rain, and wind are used in this attraction to make the experience as realistic as possible. This ride was inaugurated by Louise Edlin Freeberg, who is one of the stars of the show. In the ride, her character appears as the young woman she was when the show was filmed, and also as the woman she is today. Her older self is reading a diary and narrating the events that take place in the ride. Through a ghost effect, her older self is transformed into her teenage self. The Mystic Mover ride vehicles, through which guests travel in the ride, were manufactured by ETF. The backdrop consists of harbor and island locations, giving it an authentic Sea Crow Island feel. The animatronics recreate favorite scenes from the TV show. The ride begins with a ferry trip to the island, a place where the sun always shines. Visitors enter the vehicles and step into the world of the Melkersons. They arrive at the island drenched in rain. After that, scenes from the TV show play out one by one. They range from two characters trying to put out a smoking stove, to Melker trying not to fall off the roof, to young Stina teaching her crow to speak. Audio from the TV show is included at each scene, making passengers feel as if they had stepped into the show. Other adventures include a bee attack, Melker trying to build a water flume, and many more. The ride ends with the narrator becoming old again. She is reminiscing about how she will always remember Sea Crow Island. Behind her, all the scenes from the ride play out again on a screen. This ride is truly one of a kind. The amusement park reported an 18% increase in visitors after this ride was unveiled. It is a 4-minute ride through memory lane for fans who have loved these characters through the years and have taken part in their adventures. Which of these rides would you like to experience? Let us know in the comments. And if you want to start planning your next vacation to either Disney or Universal Studios, our friends at PixieVacations.com can help you plan your perfect vacation to Disneyland, Disney World, a Disney cruise, or Universal Studios, specifically tailored to your vacation style and budget. And working with a Pixie is completely free. So talk with them to make the best out of your vacation.